So intro and then pause?
No, I need to pause, then intro, and then we just go. I just need a little pause, and then it starts. Just do the intro. All right, that's the intro. Welcome to our podcast.
Welcome to our podcast. I'm Eljay.
I'm Eric.
Sitting here in Eric's garage, we are going to be talking about killing each other.
It's really weird.
What does that mean? I know.
That's an intense topic, though. We're just throwing it out there. So this topic of like killing each other is, I guess, what we're discussing is how we influence each other in bad ways.
Whoever it is in your life, literally.
Yeah.
Could be you and Diane, me and my wife.
Just a poor influence. Mm-hmm. So even if it's something small, whether it's even health related, habit related, mindset related, like negative mindsets, like negative stacks and stacks and stacks, and that multiplies. It's so easy to think of negative thoughts, and it's so easy for it to transfer. Like if someone's having a bad day and they're irritated, you can pass it on to your spouse really easy, and that can make it trickle to the kids, and then the whole house has a bad day, and then the dog pisses on the carpet and someone slaps the dog, or like it just
turn into a bad day.
It just multiplies.
Yeah. For me, it kind of started. It wasn't a quote, but it was It was something that I read somewhere, social media, about you're not gonna feed your pets this type of food. Why would you feed it to your kids? Or why do you think it's okay to feed that to your kids or to your wife when if like you won't even give that to your pets? Why would you treat your pets differently?
More specifically, talk about plants and water.
Yeah,
that's the best way.
Yeah, right. Like you wouldn't put soda.
You wouldn't put Coca-Cola inside your plant and be like, "There you go, friend, a little bit of fuel and energy."
Yeah, and then it just.
But that's what we put in ourselves, and it's ridiculous.
It'll die so fast.
Right? Like just because we're capable of consuming Coca-Cola does not mean that it is a proper nutrient that we need to be absorbing. It's like those seagulls and birds and fish in the ocean that eat plastic. They're capable of consuming it, but it slowly destroys them. And you see it in people.
You see it in pictures too. All of them are like just dead too.
Well, not even the animals, but we like loop it back to humans. You can see it when people have poor diet, poor exercise, stress, sleep, everything. All the habits are just like a little subpar and they're not optimal. Their skin's dry, it's wrinkled, they look beat up, like you can tell like when people are kind of falling apart from the inside out, because it's true, you are what you eat.
You are what you eat. And like I said, we still feed our kids. Obviously there'll be sugar in there. They're in grade school right now, kindergarten. Right?
Yeah.
There'll be sugar in there. There'll be like some salty snacks in there, right? But like when you think about it, like when does it end, or why is that the norm?
Well, we're not.
It's hard.
Yeah,
it's hard because I'm like, oh no, my kids only eat meat, vegetables, nuts and seeds, some fruit, low starch, almost no sugar.
We're not talking about perfection here. Like we just ate popcorn chicken yesterday.
Well, that was Dan's fault.
20 pieces, $2.
$2.
Money. We're talking about like not the exception. We're talking about like some people that's their diet, like
that's their everyday food.
Cereal, Kraft dinner, coffee, hot dogs, just like crap food.
I almost picked up some.
And they don't drink water. They drink like, how much water are you drinking a day? How much water is in Coca-Cola? Not a lot.
It's nuts, man. Like I had a few clients before that. How much water have you had? I haven't had water in 6 months. Oh yeah.
I can't live without water.
And then I'm like, so what do you drink? Well, I don't drink coffee really, but I feel like I need the energy. So it's as soon as I wake up, it'll be I crack open a pop.
I can't live without water.
Like as soon as you wake up, you crack open a pop. I don't even know what that feels.
That's disgusting.
I have know what that feels.
See, I have a little bit of a good example set. I think more than a little bit of a good one. But my dad. With candy, sweet, and all that stuff, if he cracked open chocolate bar, he'd like have like a small piece, like a small chunk, like let's say a caramel chocolate bar that's kind of cut up into squares. He could have 2, and he'd milk that for like 4 hours the whole night. And then when I was a kid, I always saw that example. If we had Halloween candy, he'd be like, oh yeah, I just need 1, and he'd crush that whole candy for the whole night. And he'd be like, yeah, no, and then same thing in the morning, he'd be like, he set that example of, no, it's too early for pop, it's too early for treats, it's too early to do that. Same thing with work ethic, too early to play video games. I can't play video games in the morning or during the day, like even on a Sunday morning where
You can't?
I can't. When I'm allowed to relax, like if I have nothing to do on Sunday, I will find something to be productive.
Probably never happen, but...
Well, that's what I mean, but I'll find something to be productive. I only play games or relax at night because I feel like I've earned it. I can't just wake up anymore and play a game. And my dad kind of set that example of like, it's too early to play games. It's too early to have pop. It's like, he always kind of set the example that the morning and the day is when you get shit done. And if I was going to crack a pop, it would be at night.
It would be at night.
It would be like, yeah.
Most of the people I talk to, it's like, it's lunchtime. It's almost like a staple for lunch. Like,
Yeah.
What did you have for lunch? Oh, I had chicken, a little bit of vegetables, and a little bit of potatoes, and then we had water, coffee, tea, pop normally.
Yeah. Well, you look at all the fast food chains. It's all like that's their staple of beverage. It's not apple juice and orange juice. Their staple is soda.
Well, even that is freaking not the best for you, really.
No. So, with this topic of killing each other, like killing each other slowly, setting a bad example, I want to know, if you know off by hand, an example that you experienced with your wife.
About what?
Maybe not necessarily where it's killing each other, but a bad example. If you have one. I can go first if you want to.
Well, I mean, I'm an ice cream guy.
Okay.
Right? So she would buy me ice cream, especially when it's on sale. Ben and Jerry's is my first choice.
Yeah.
Right? So when it's on sale, she'll get me 2.
Yeah.
Right? And then now...
If you have 2, you're more likely to eat a little bit more?
Well, no. I mean, just because she bought it, it's already available. Once it's available at home, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a chocolate bar, it could be ice cream, it could be cake, it could be whatever, chips. When it's at home, when you bring it home, it's ready to consume. Whether you consume it today or tomorrow or the next day, it will be consumed.
Yeah.
So when we're trying to say killing each other, like, and I almost feel bad because she's not trying to kill me. She loves me to death, right?
Yeah.
And I love her, and I bring her treats too, or chips. I even
Yeah.
call her sometimes when I'm shopping. She's like, what kind of chips would you want for Saturday or Sunday? Like,
Yeah.
It just feels like it's the norm. And you know what? Even me as a fitness enthusiast I'm like stuck in those ways.
But again,
It's
though,
hard.
I guess it's really important in this podcast to draw the line between like the exception and the rule and the norm. Because I think for us, it's not the norm to eat that stuff. We might have it on a Saturday or a Sunday as a cheat meal. Again, where when we talked in our previous podcast, people lied to themselves. They're like, oh, I only eat it sometimes, but they're probably eating it every night.
Yeah.
So mine is kind of on the same level with Diane. And again, I don't think the purpose of this podcast is not to talk about you bought ice cream for your wife or she bought it for you and that's killing you or she's doing that to harm you. And I don't think ice cream on a Sunday is killing you. But for me, I actually do better with sweets when they're in the house, when they're available.
What do you mean?
So
It's almost like you can control it more?
I can control the urges more or the cravings when I have it. So the example being, I have ice cream in the fridge right now. I have Oreo cookies in the fridge right now. So I have ice cream and cookies and chocolate. I still have Halloween candy.
Why didn't you tell me that?
Because I'm afraid you'd eat it. I didn't want to kill you, bro.
Okay. Yeah.
So ice cream, cookies, Oreos, right? All there. Because it's there, I'm less likely to touch it because I'm like, I'll look at it and I'm like, oh, I could probably eat something better. Oh, that's not going to make me feel very good. Or that's going to make me crash. Or, oh, I should have something better. So I'll grab a banana or applesauce or something different. Like I'll grab something, a healthier alternative. With Diane, it's the opposite. She, like, out of sight, out of mind for her. So if there's ice cream and cookies and chocolate in the house, she'll crush it. She, like, has a hard time controlling herself. Whereas with me, if it's not in the house, like, let's say tonight we weren't doing a podcast and I was just going to stay at home. If I had a craving where I was like, man, I want some Kit Kat bars and some chips, but I don't have it. If I go to the store, I'm now on a mission where I'm going to get it and I'm going to come home and I'm going to eat it. I'm going to eat it. So if it's at home though, the craving's less likely to happen because I'm like, I have like...
That's different.
I have like 100 chocolate bars of Halloween candy upstairs right now, and I don't crave it because I have I have a surplus. I have a surplus of garbage, so I don't need it. So with Diane, we get into this weird thing where she's like, oh my God, there's so much crap in the house, and I keep eating it, and I'm like, okay, baby, well, I'm going to help you out. I'll throw all the crap in the garbage, and then she's mad at me because I wasted food. But I'm like, no, this food is not. It's not
really food.
It's not nutrients. It's garbage. It's a waste already. Yeah. So I toss the food out, and then when she's gone, all of a sudden I start craving it. So I buy it again. I eat a little bit. Yeah. So right now there's ice cream upstairs and there's Oreos. I bought ice cream the first day Diane left. She left for Vietnam 5 weeks ago. There. I had maybe 2 small bowls. And it is full. I've crushed 2 small bowls in 5 weeks. When she comes home, I'm damn near thinking about throwing it away. Because I'm like, I need to get this out of here so she doesn't touch it. Because it's not going to help her.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think when we talk about killing herself, I don't think it's going to kill Diane to have sweets.
No.
But I know that it doesn't align with her goals. So I need to try to remove the barrier for her and control myself better and not have it.
Which is almost a topic of when you say it's just the weekends that we do it and it's not bad. So are cheat meals okay? I might be going on a tangent here, but to me, I consider, like, let's say a cheat meal, if we associate it with money. Hey, you want to buy something nice for yourself? Fine. Can you afford it? Yes. Okay, then buy it. Now, for people, and I've talked to people who are like 300 pounds.
I like where you're going with this. I know where you're going.
Are 300 pounds, right?
Can they afford it?
And I'm like, I'm going to have I eat clean all week, but I have my cheat meal. But it's like
you can't afford it.
You can't afford it. If we go back to finances, you're already $1 million in debt.
Yeah.
And you want to buy that car.
$1 million is extreme.
Okay, fine. Right? Okay, you're like $20,000 in debt.
Yeah.
And now you want to buy that pair of shoes.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's a want. You don't need it, right? Yeah. So, but then is it okay? Because what they say is it's not just health is a lot of things. You have your emotional health, you have your physical health, your mental health, spiritual health. Like, at what point, like, I'm messed up emotionally because I can have ice cream.
Yeah.
Right? For some of those people.
So going on topic of cheat meal, I like your analogy. I really like that. But for me, if I bought McDonald's tonight, so I'm going swimming. Yeah. After swimming, a bunch of the guys always get McDonald's, almost a ritual. Every Friday night, McDonald's. I cut mine down, financially speaking, not because I was concerned about the food. But I'm just like, financially speaking, it's not smart. But if I eat McDonald's or if I eat popcorn chicken, I never considered a cheat meal because I'm doing so many of the things right that I don't even need to classify it as a cheat meal because I've already it's almost like making an excuse being like, well, I did so good, so I deserve a cheat meal. I don't need to second guess myself because I already know that I made the right steps. It's like if you do your homework. Yeah. If you do your homework, you don't have to be nervous about the test. If you're going to get into a fight and you've prepared and you've studied and you've practiced and you've been training hard, you're more excited for the fight because you know you prepared for it and you're ready to rock. Whereas if you're going to fight somebody and you know you've been slacking, you're nervous about it. If you're going to have a cheat meal and you know you're calling it a cheat meal, it's because you've been slacking.
Like I said, for you can afford it, right?
Yeah.
Other people, imagine. Yeah. So, as an example, we go back to the ice cream. This was me years ago, okay? One Ben & Jerry's is about 13 to 1,500 calories each, okay? We already know how hard it is to burn 1,000 calories in one workout, say for example. If I eat that every Saturday religiously for a year, to someone who is overweight, that would be 72,000 calories extra for the year that they needed to work harder for just to decrease their weight, right? So at what point is it okay, and at what point is it like, hey, you know what? You really need to just have a better relationship with food, like, seriously. But then again, like the things that are around us does not help at all.
Could we shift from nutrition to habits?
Let's go with habits.
So I want to talk habits. Same example, like just because this podcast just starting off, I think is good, valuable for us to reflect on our own situations and talk about that. So talking about habits, whether things are like you do things because it's easier or it's convenient or you feel maybe a little bit lazy. I know Diane and I, when she's home, we kind of take turns making breakfast. But when we take turns making breakfast, it's almost who feels better, who feels more awake, who feels hotter, who wakes up faster. So sometimes if I'm switched on and I'm feeling like a rock star, I'll wake up, 5 days in a row, I'll make breakfast. And then like the next week, she'll do it once and then she'll do it again. And then nobody does it. And then nobody does it again. And then
it happens. You let it slide.
If you let it slide, somebody has to take the reins in the relationship to keep things on track. Whether it's making breakfast, cleaning the house, or exercising. Yeah. So I'm the fitness freak. My expectations of Diane are not to exercise 6 days a week, maintain 17% body fat and look like a smoke show, like perfection, like fitness model. My expectations are, I want Diane to exercise 2 to 3 times a week and be healthy. I want her to be able to go on a hike with me or play volleyball with me or swim. She should be able to do any of those tasks with ease, with some sort of skill and proficiency.
Absolutely.
Just that's my definition of health for me, and I want that for her as well, for her own benefit. So sometimes she falls in the habit of not exercising, and then 2 weeks will pass, and I haven't said anything, and I almost feel like it's my responsibility, not as a trainer, but as her spouse, to try to get her back on track, re-inspire her, and pick her feet back up, right? Just like I need to be that influence. And if I don't say anything about her and I let her fall apart, then I almost feel like I almost attribute her to that aspect of, I'm not killing her, but I'm definitely not adding anything to her. And maybe she doesn't like that tough love of me saying like, you should probably exercise or something like that, or maybe it's time to start up again. But I feel like that's the yin and yang of like a healthy relationship, is like holding each other accountable. Like if I'm stupid with my finances and my money, I feel like she needs to jump in and help me and slap me and be like, we're getting this back on track.
Or if you're playing video games for 6 hours a day.
Yeah. Which doesn't happen.
Well, what I'm saying is like she would say something.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, what's going on? You're not even spending time with me. You're not spending time on your programming, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Or if I was sleeping, like, you know, when you're depressed, they link depression to the amount of steps you take in a day. Being a person who's depressed is sleeping more. So they're always in bed or they're always in a chair. They don't walk around. Yeah. Take my client.
Less movement, for sure.
One of my clients is an older gentleman. He crushes like 15,000 steps by noon. That man can't be depressed because he's doing so much. He's like literally wakes up to get 15,000 steps by noon. He's up at 6, walks the dog, walks to the gas station, buys a coffee, walks around, comes to the gym, walks on a treadmill for an hour, exercises for an hour. You can't be depressed if you're doing that much activity because people rely on you, you have things depending on you, you have a job, a mission, a task. You know what I mean? So kind of all just talking about, you know, like that proper influence on those around you. And I find, I'm just going to keep going here because I'm kind of on a flow. Not even just spouses. We wrote, when we were kind of brainstorming, we talked even about pets. When I see owners, if I see a very overweight dog, not to be judgmental, but the dog, maybe the dog's nails aren't clipped and the dog's overweight, normally a reflection of the owners not taking care of them. They're not taking care of the dog. They're not taking care of themselves. Not taking care of their house. Everything.
And their car.
Everything. Everything connects. Yeah. It's all just one flow. It's like a reflection of their lifestyle.
Well, that's why sometimes they say how you do one thing is how you do.
Not trying to be judgmental because like if I adopted a very unhealthy dog, maybe I'm in that. But that's the exception that we're talking about, not the rule.
For me, it's always, and again, when I had this topic in mind, it's always about like food and nutrition and stuff. But
so
being judgmental, for me, I do that a lot when I go to the grocery store. You're in line, the grocery store.
Just looking at other people.
You know what's, but it's crazy that it's almost like you look at a person, and then you look at the cart, and you almost know exactly where they are in their life right now. Like I almost knew you were going to buy that. And then you would find, let's say, someone a little heavier, but now they have fruits, vegetables, and they have like
like
natural peanut butter, and they have like they have like meat, and then they're like throwing that in the cart. There's like a different glow in them versus the other person who has like junk in their cart still. You know this person's already transitioning to something better.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago, I was in the grocery store, and I like having bottles of water because they're easy accessible. So I always have bottled water upstairs in case we just need to grab and go for water. We don't have our bottles with us.
Yeah.
I was grabbing bottled water, and there's this lady there who just looked mangled, man. She was heavier set. Her skin was smoked. Her hair was disheveled in smoke. Her cart was chips and pop and like one of those pre-cooked rotisserie chickens that's like you just take the chicken home and eat it.
Oh, I love those ones though.
She just had but she looked rough and just buying like so much crap in her cart. Again, maybe a little judgmental, but it's still there. And it hurt. Like, it's not like I was being like, oh my God, like, that's disgusting. Like, oh, I wasn't trying to, like, it put her down in my mind, but I was more like, man, like, that's not the best choice for you right now. Like, I felt bad. Like, there's a part of me that feels bad when I see people, if I'm with Diane in the mall, and let's say there's a 500-pound person rolling around on a scooter, there's like, I'm sure everybody has a little bit of judgment towards that situation, but for me, I'm more just like, that's gotta be rough. That's gotta hurt, man. Like your knees, your back, you can't walk, everything just hurts.
And when you think deeper too, I'm like, what kind of people do you have in your life that they let you ruin yourself,
killing yourself
to this point?
Normally when you're like over 5 bills like that, they always say there's somebody in there who is supporting that behavior.
And this is when I'm not sure if it was you I was talking about before, but like being a friend, like a real friend, versus being an ally, where you're just like, as an ally, you're like, yeah, whatever. You just you give them consent of whatever they want to do. Yeah, man, I got like, that's not too bad for you. You can afford that right now, right? Versus being a real friend that it's not the best choice for you right now, man. Like you cannot let this happen. Like 3 months ago, you were at this point. Now you're like 10 pounds heavier. If you keep going like this for the whole year, man, that's 40 pounds a year.
Yeah, it'd be like if I just stopped exercising.
Oh, you'll hear it from me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
being happy. I think this is a good way to close it. Like in any areas of your life. Any area, really. For you to be happy, it needs work. For you to be happy with your body, it will need a little bit of work. For you to be happy with your finances, need a little bit of sacrifice, a little bit of work, a little bit of discipline. Same with your food, right?
Same with your
relationships
with your wife, your kids, your friends. All of these situations, you really have to give more. Like your food, you do not get healthy, and your exercise, you don't get healthy by taking more food or taking more time for yourself to not exercise. With your wife, you don't like take time, like take everything she gives you, your finances, you'd buy all the new stuff, take. And literally you have to give, like you have to give your time, your effort, like your hard work, like your love, consistency, all of that. Like to be happy, it's so much easier to be negative because all you have to do is just be miserable and have negative thoughts and be judgmental and bitch. And that's with me now. Anytime I'm bitching about something, I really try to correct my behavior. Like we were discussing upstairs, my truck's broken. I'm driving Diane's car right now. And I started her car and it blew snow at me because of the vents. And I started laughing and smiling and being like, at least I'm blessed enough that at least I have a car today. And
it's not Uber today or it's not a cab.
Yeah, my truck's not working right now, but at least I have a car today.
Well, that was me like a few days ago. You were driving Diane's car. I was driving my wife's van.
Yeah.
I'm like, shout out to my wife, by the way, that when you were talking about giving, she is giving a lot. Like
she gave me banana bread.
A lot of her time to anyone. To me, especially, like for me to come here on a Friday and do this, I kind of explain what we try and do here and what we're trying to accomplish. And she supports that fully. Right now, she's at church with all the kids, like hauling all the kids, right? And normally Friday, it's usually me grocery shopping, but she usually does that so we can do this.
Yeah.
So she gives a lot to me. So I love you, baby.
Thanks, AJ.
Thank you.
All right, man. Well, let's shut it down. I think that was a good talk. It was a little bit nice and tighter than before.
Yeah.
So
to be happy, it needs work. Whatever it is, it needs work.
this whole podcast, in my eyes, is more just something for everybody to reflect on. Whether it's reflecting on your own circumstances or a loved one, you got to put in work to be happy.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's all for today.
Ciao.
Bye.
How many minutes was that?
Less than 25.
I almost want to listen to a few clips.
No. No.
Yeah, maybe.
No.